Hey all, episode 15 and it's titled Third Eye, and you can only assume that's because it's the only thing that happens. I'm only sort of kidding, but yeah, for this episode, you really gotta get ready to suspend your disbelief. Seriously guys, just transform. Goma goes ballistic right off the bat, and it's a grating way to start an already frustrating episode, but it's not without some pros. The frustration stems from these blasters and family-friendly looking guns. Initially, the group's maneuvering well. The camera does a great job showing the proximity of the blasts. Vegeta flying with Bulma is also one of the most heroic he's looked, right under his sacrifice. Goku's like, they're packing guns! I'd say Glorio has a gun. These are pew-pew blasters, right down to the sound effects. I just think the beams make it feel more like Laser Quest than a shootout. Goku's still having bad luck with getting electrocuted this episode and the last. It did make me wince seeing him struggle so much, but just like the shield, he recovered near instantly. It was cool how the switch turned though and you can see him go out for vengeance. That extend was feisty. Like a sinner, Vegeta's pride gets the best of him, really throwing caution to the wind jumping into the fray like that. Only for a minute cause he does get shot down. It's like pride combined with the childlike lack of fear. Goku got one zap, Vegeta got two, which seemed to put him in a much worse shape than the former. Enough so for Vegeta to swallow his pride and a revive bug. All that previous talk about how he's too refined now, but if he can handle this, he can handle a join bug. Goku mentions it's tougher for them in kids' bodies. Sure. So, transform. We just saw Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta 3 episodes ago, and they're already nerfed. To Goma's credit, his plan's working, he's made them significantly weaker. As he goes down the list and picks out Hebus, he gets a full shot of the belt. As anticipated, Hebus is nonchalantly holding on to the third eye. Some thought it was obvious since Goma and Hebus brought it up in the same episode, even I had speculated as such. Goma and Degisu seemed skeptical, I guess just flabbergasted it came to them. Turns out, Goma had seen it before on Abura. Degisu's funny comment, don't all eyes look like that? Maybe, but they don't all move after being severed. Goma tasked Degisu with retrieving it, which would be his first confrontation with the group. What I didn't expect was for a narrator to plop in. Maybe they thought it would have been strange for Goma to be monologuing all this to himself randomly. So the Tertian Oculus was worn by Supreme Demon Kings, granting them power and authority. They just need the wealth and fame. It gives the wielder a huge power boost, and it gets me curious if you have to be at a certain strength already to handle it. Like, would Goma just implode if he wore it? Apparently, it was stolen from Abura as an act of familial betrayal. Abura commissioned some roach to steal from his own father. It also gives the narrator more context, Goma not being able to explain these parts he wasn't there for. The bug thing made it out of the high-speed chase, and was pretty skilled to do so. His situational awareness was on 0 though. With the eye's power out of the way, Dabra was able to usurp the throne. Until, as we know, he got turned into a Honeymaid's graham cracker. Though, I wonder if he could have just used the eye to kill Abra himself and save some steps. It turned out to be Hebus' lucky day, who stumbled upon the eye in the thick of weeds and had a perfect vessel for it. From the symbol of kings to an accessory, the eye has really fallen from grace. If they didn't add the additional section with Hebus, there could have still been some ambiguity. Now we know for a fact it's the same eye, which does take some of the fun from guessing away. Then again, it was fairly obvious already. The assault continues, and really the gang just has to bust up their ships, but they don't prioritize that. None of the grunts are strong enough for them, even in base form. Get rid of their weapons and it's cut. If there's any stakes, I guess it's Hebus and Bulma there, even though they are mostly comic relief. If a blast is gonna paralyze Vegeta, I shudder to think what it would do to Bulma. But then again, it's Daima, so she'd probably shake it off. They head over to the third Tamagami over what is a cool looking 3D background, but not without notice. An alarm gets sounded from Diet Deborah. With all the hullabaloo, the group ends up scattered momentarily. Unfortunate since so far the most full collaboration we've seen was in the hamster episode. Goku tries to tag Neva in, who declines since he doesn't have a B in this fight. Even though his life is at risk too, so if he's so chill about that, I can imagine it being easy for him to betray the group. As most rational people would plot, they attempt to seduce the eye from Hebus. Is this Degisu? Did he go on E? Whoever it is really plays it up. The sultry voice, hip dip, most would fold. But not Hebus, who can resist the temptress. I got a kick out of him negotiating the belt for the hat. Him trading ultimate power to put an unfinished beehive on his head, it's just incredibly in character. The eye is won, but self-esteem's lost. Double oof because we know Hebus is a lady killer who's probably missed a few dates by this point. Piccolo paints quite the graphic image of him getting repeatedly blown apart piece by piece. Hilariously an idea Goku supports, they must be low on options. Neva shuts that down though, saying a hit to the vitals would still be fatal. and they are packing a lot of ammo. I know they could transform, but giving the benefit of the doubt, they'd still be outnumbered. With Aranzu, I got a real satisfaction from seeing hers. I just admire her tenacity. She's fostering 2 kids, risking her hide via betrayal. Aranzu's putting in work behind the scenes. The guys jump back in, and it feels like racing the clock if they can only get blasted once. At least that's what we were told. The shots stop when they get a drop in from these sick, menacing golden tankers. The police take the guys by surprise and are the most competent of the gendarmerie that we've seen. I actually thought the group had been one-shotted. Goku collapses, the military goes wild, emotional height of the episode. Then, again, actually they're fine, bouncing around like normal. The shots look deadly, they looked great, but the group shrugs them off. Loses all the threat aspect. The second blast looked like it would have been a game finisher, but got interrupted. There's an explosive drop-in from King Kadan coming in clutch. My previous assumption was that he was going to be a liability. I almost thought that was the case when the ship got blown up, but all of them made it out unscathed. Again, they got me with the bait and switch of these fatal-looking blows, only for them to shrug it off, and I don't love that. Still, their counterattack was a treat to watch. Kadan here, with Goma and Aranzu, gives us 3 people fighting for King. Personally, I'd be happier with King going to either Aranzu or Kadan over Goma. They're actually getting in the weeds while Goma sits back and spectates. As the group gets the upper hand, Goku takes advantage of the momentum by going Super Saiyan. He was already one-shotting them before, the only difference now is he's doing it quicker. But why not just do this in the first place? Goma's breaking a sweat, but Degusu reminds us of the backup. Though, from his expression, it seems like even he's getting fed up with Goma. About time. He also didn't mention the eye, so either he's plotting with it, or it hasn't been delivered yet. Our party's grown bigger, which does make it lively. I just hope that doesn't come at the cost of giving individual characters moments to shine. This was probably supposed to be the most high-stakes episode so far. There are whole armies coming at the gang, and we see them drop more than one time. I think this episode could have benefited from something that One Piece did. When Luffy needed a minute to recharge and had Zoro back him up. I think a similar play here could have worked to up the suspense. But instead, they just kept getting right back up. It's even harder to suspend the disbelief when Kid Goku decimated the Red Ribbon Army solo. As for Goma, seems like he's about to get his hands on the eye if Degusu isn't up to something. It could also be the case this woman wasn't related to either of them. If/when the crew beats the Gendarmerie force, I'd assume they move to beat Degusu or Goma, who's powered by the eye, with the final boss being a fused Ku. That's how I think it'll play out. Hopefully we'll get to see some actual stakes and conflict during it too, which was sorely missing here. So I give this one a 5 out of 10.